All right, guys, so I just wanted to take you through a couple problems where we use percent composition to analyze the amount of an element within a chemical compound. And these are pretty straightforward problems. From the notes that you took from the TRO text, you should have a basic idea what's going on, but I just wanted to go through a couple things and kind of work it out for you. Sometimes it helps to actually see these things. It's easier to understand rather than reading it from a book. So the first question then that we're going to deal with is kind of a classic. You're given the formula of the compound and you're asked for the mass percent of a certain element in that compound. So in this case we have the C2H5Cl. And so the way I do this, and it differs from person to person, there's at least two ways that I know of that you can work this. You can assume a certain massive compound and then solve that, or what I do is I assume that there's 1 mole of the compound. So if I have 1 mole of this compound, and it doesn't really, honestly, it doesn't really matter what you choose, but choosing a mole, then I find the molar mass and then take essentially the amount of hydrogen within that molar mass. So the molar mass of carbon, I have 2 of them, is 12.01 grams per mole. And then the molar mass of hydrogen, to 2 decimals, is 1.01 grams per mole, and I have 5 of those. And then I have 1 chlorine, which is a molar mass of 35.45 grams per mole. And so if you add all these together, you're going to get 64.52 grams per mole. Okay, so that's going to be our molar mass. And if you think about it, so again, this is carbon, this is from hydrogen, this is from chlorine. So within this total molar mass, say that 5 times real quick, right? If we take, I'll erase right here. So if we take essentially 5.05 grams out of this total amount of 64.52 grams. Okay, so assume, again, 1 mole of the substance. It's going to have 5.05 grams of hydrogen. And this will be the total mass. And so dividing those two will essentially give us the mass percent of hydrogen in this compound. So we will get 0.0782 to 3 decimal places, and that translates, of course, into 7.82%. Okay, so that's how you would work that type of problem. So we have these percents. Another thing that you might be asked is you're given 45 grams of the compound, and hey, what's the mass, or possibly even number of moles, but hey, what's the mass of an element within that compound? And so looking at the same compound, so we can have the same molar mass. Okay, so the same molar mass, which will be 64.52. It's supposed to be 52 grams per mole. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what the mass percent of chlorine is. Okay, so again, using the same method as I did before, I take the molar mass. I find that within that total molar mass, there's 35.45 grams of chlorine in this mole, and 64.52 grams total. And so that's going to give us 0.5494, which translates into 54.94%. So that's the mass percent of chlorine. Mass percent chlorine. Okay? Oops, go back. Okay, so that's the mass percent of chlorine. And then, because it is a mass percent, I can take any mass and multiply it by that percent, and that gives me the mass of chlorine in that. So in this case, I have 45 grams of chlorine. And, sorry, this is the compound. So 45 grams of the whole compound. And I know that 0.5494 of that will be due to the mass of chlorine. So multiplying those two together, I get 24.7 grams. Okay, 24.7 grams of chlorine in this 45 grams of compound. Okay, so this is a pretty fundamental skill in chemistry. It's one that I do expect you guys to be able to do. So if I give you the mass of the compound, and I want to know just how much of a certain element is in the compound, I do want you guys to be able to find the mass of the element within the compound. And the way you do that is you use these mass percents. So that's about it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.